Welcome to MogulCast, where we uncover the stories behind the world's greatest business empires. Let's get into today's story.
For 10 years straight, Wall Street's most respected voices called Amazon a fraud. A company built to lose money, doomed to collapse, unworthy of the stock price investors were paying. It started as a single online bookstore with almost no chance of survival against giant retailers. Today, it is the largest company in the world by revenue, employing more Americans than almost any private company on Earth. This is the full story, and it is worse than you think. In 1994, Jeff Bezos founded Amazon in Bellevue, Washington. He picked one category to start: books. Not because he loved publishing, but because a catalog of virtually infinite titles was something no physical bookstore could ever stock on its own shelves. It was a narrow bet with global ambition hidden inside it. Bezos always intended to expand into nearly everything people buy. We will come back to one specific decision. It is the key to everything. Skeptics thought the whole premise was absurd. Selling books online with no physical stores, no foot traffic, and razor-thin margins was not considered a real business by most of Wall Street. But Bezos gradually pushed Amazon past books into electronics, toys, and eventually almost every category imaginable, building toward what the company would later call the everything store. Investors were not impressed by the vision. They were watching the losses pile up, quarter after quarter, with no end in sight. Then came the moves that actually built the empire. Amazon expanded into electronics, apparel, groceries, and entertainment, positioning itself as what the company itself calls the everything store. It launched a subscription program, Amazon Prime, promising fast shipping and bundled perks that kept customers locked in and buying more. It also opened Amazon Web Services, turning spare computing power into a cloud business that would eventually power a huge share of the internet's biggest companies. Every dollar Amazon made was funneled straight back into warehouses, technology, and new product lines instead of appearing as profit on a balance sheet. That reinvestment built a logistics network and a cloud infrastructure that competitors could not easily copy. Customers loved it. Growth accelerated year after year, and Amazon kept pushing into new categories most retailers considered unrelated to their business. Analysts crunched those same numbers and reached a completely different conclusion about what they meant. But not everyone was celebrating. Wall Street's biggest complaint was simple. Amazon barely made a profit year after year, even as its revenue climbed. To many analysts, that looked like a company that fundamentally did not know how to make money. But here's what the media completely got wrong about this. Amazon's razor-thin profits were not a failure. They were the strategy. Every spare dollar was intentionally reinvested into growth, because Bezos believed market share and infrastructure mattered more than short-term earnings reports. That long game built something competitors could not fast-follow their way into. Amazon Web Services turned into a cloud computing giant that other companies now depend on to run their own websites and apps. Amazon Prime turned millions of casual shoppers into loyal subscribers who barely comparison shopped anymore. And the company kept adding pieces, devices like Kindle and Echo, streaming through Prime Video, even physical grocery stores through Whole Foods, until Amazon touched nearly every part of daily life. Then the dot-com crash hit, and Amazon's stock lost the vast majority of its value almost overnight. Analysts who had already been skeptical now openly predicted the company would go bankrupt. For years afterward, some of Wall Street's most respected voices kept repeating the same warning. Amazon was a fraud, a company that would never turn a real sustainable profit, propped up only by investor hype that would eventually run out. Inside the company, the pressure was relentless. Every earnings call brought the same questions. When would Amazon finally act like a normal, profitable business? Bezos refused to change course. He kept directing cash into warehouses, delivery infrastructure, and new categories, even as headlines mocked the losses and some investors gave up entirely, convinced they were watching a company slowly bleed itself to death in plain sight, one unprofitable quarter at a time. What almost no one on Wall Street understood was that the infrastructure being built during those brutal years, the warehouses, the delivery network, the cloud servers, was not waste. It was the foundation for a business that could eventually dominate multiple industries at once, not just retail. And if you have made it this far, you already understand something most analysts completely missed. Patience was the entire strategy, disguised as recklessness. By 2021, the doubt had become irrelevant. Amazon surpassed Walmart to become the largest retailer in the world outside of China, a milestone that would have sounded absurd to the analysts who spent a decade predicting bankruptcy. Amazon Prime alone had grown to roughly 200 million subscribers worldwide, each one paying for faster shipping and locked into an ecosystem that made switching to a competitor feel genuinely inconvenient. The company skeptics called a fraud had quietly become unavoidable. Today, Amazon is no longer just a retailer. It owns Amazon Web Services, a cloud computing business other companies rely on to function. It owns MGM Studios, Twitch, IMDb, and Whole Foods. It builds Kindle, Echo, and Fire devices used in millions of homes. As of 2024, it ranked as the second largest company in the United States by revenue, and it is the second largest private employer in the country. By 2026, it stood as the largest company in the world by revenue. Remember that decision we mentioned at the start? The choice to expand from a single category, books, into virtually everything people buy, while plowing every available dollar back into the business, instead of showing Wall Street a profit. Here is what it actually cost. Roughly a decade of public ridicule, repeated predictions of bankruptcy, and a reputation as a fraud among some of the most powerful voices in finance. It also built the largest company on the planet by revenue. Here is the story in numbers. Founded in 1994 in Bellevue, Washington, with a single bookstore. About 10 years of Wall Street calling it a fraud. Roughly 200 million Amazon Prime subscribers worldwide. The largest retailer outside of China as of 2021. The second largest private employer in the United States. The second largest company in the country by revenue as of 2024. And as of 2026, the largest company in the entire world by revenue. Here is the part most people miss. Wall Street judged Amazon by the wrong scoreboard for over a decade, measuring quarterly profit instead of long-term infrastructure. The very thing that got Amazon branded a fraud, spending instead of profiting, is the exact reason it now owns cloud computing, logistics, and retail all at once. Sometimes the market punishes patience in real time and only rewards it years later, once it is too late to short the stock. 10 years of being called a fraud, and Amazon still became the largest company in the world by revenue. Wall Street's harshest judgment was not wrong about the losses. It was wrong about what those losses meant. If you want to understand how this pattern repeats across every major business collapse, the next video covers a story with disturbing parallels. That one is next.
That's the story for today on MogulCast. If you found this valuable, subscribe and hit the bell. A new Empire story drops every single weekday. See you tomorrow.